Hey, welcome to this episode of Fresh Word. Today we're in John chapter 9, and I just want to bring to you something that's been ministering to my heart out of John 9. As you know, there's a man who is born blind, and the religious leaders, they're always looking to put a cause on why something has happened. Why, they're pointing out the sin, this man or his mother, who sinned in order for this man to be born this way. And if you think about what they're saying, did this man sin? The man was born blind. How could he sin? Well, I know in our mother's womb, we've been conceived in sin, as David says. But it wouldn't be right to punish somebody because they're in a womb and they come out that way, right? So their question is like just totally absurd. But anyway, they're trying to point out the problem here. And Jesus says that, neither this man nor his parents sinned. This man was born blind so that Jesus can come on the scene and heal him. Think about what he's saying there, because he's saying that neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of God should be revealed in him. I mean, here's a guy who spent a lot of time being blind. A lot of people have a problem with that. They don't want to go through infirmities, or they don't want to go through a tough situation so that God is glorified. And there are times that God uses us, our circumstances, or he uses things that we go through to glorify himself, to totally take us out of a situation, or maybe put us into a situation to where we can no way, shape, or form get out of it in and of ourselves, but he has to move. That was the case of this man. He couldn't heal himself, only the Lord. And so he's all this time that he was going to be, living, not being able to see. And I think of today, sometimes there's things in our lives that when we get frustrated, things don't go our way, plans don't work out, or things don't go according to our liking. But again, the Lord might be working something out in our lives that's totally far or totally different, far from our thoughts, or totally different than what you and I might think they are or think they need to be. And I'll tell you, Jesus here, it says he spits on the ground, and that he put some clay, made some clay out of the water and the dirt, and he put it on the guy's eyes, told him to go wash in the pool of Siloam, and he comes back seeing. Now you think about this, because I think of a pregnant woman who goes through these labor pains, she's in much pain, and all of a sudden she gives birth to a child. And the moment she gives birth, for the most part, the pain is forgotten because of the joy of the child. This man isn't worried about the time he spent being blind, because now he can see. He has vision. And the joy of being able to see now is far outweighs anything that he had gone through previously. And so, all these unanswered questions that he might have had earlier, not necessary. But here he comes to the point to where the religious leaders they want to find out what's going on. They want to find out, what is it? What did this guy do? What would Jesus do? After all, this was a Sabbath. And so they question. And they questioned the guy, what was it that Jesus did? And he said, he put clay on my eyes and I washed and I see. And it's that simple. They always want something better, something more. And not receiving the answer that they wanted to hear, they moved to confront the man's parents. Let's go after the man's parents. And they ask him several questions. And finally his parents replied, and they say, we know that this is our son. We know that he is born blind. But by what means he now sees, we do not know. Or who opens his eyes, we do not know. He's of age, ask him. He will speak for himself. Now, of course, they didn't want to be thrown out of the synagogue, but they also are just pointing to the son. They can't answer it. So they question the man again, and they come back to the man. In the 25th verse, it says, he answered, whether Jesus, speaking of Jesus, whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I know, that though I was blind, now I see. That's the answer. I mean, how do you do it? What happened? What was the temperature? How much spit did he use? How much ground did he use? How much sin did you have in your life that he washed and cleared you up? The very fact that God wanted to do a work in this guy should testify of his goodness, that he would meet him there. And that it wasn't just for the man, I don't think, that saw, but for those around him to see that Jesus was there, ready to do a work. And I think of today how Jesus is ready to do a work in so many people that are maybe not physically blind, but spiritually blind. And they can't see. They can't see truth through all the clouded smoke that's coming through media, through the cable TV, through everything that they're into in life. Then Jesus is trying to speak clearly so that they may see clearly. Listen, we live in a day and age when there's a lot of confusion, but there is one truth. We live today where there's a lot of, trying to figure out who's speaking truth, fact checking here, fact checking there. And then people get upset when you fact check. But Jesus Christ is the source of truth that you can always stand on. And he's the one that will allow you to see clearly, spiritually. And that's what you need. That's what we all need. We all need the Word of God, and we all need him to open our eyes and say, God, let me see things the way you see things. And let me walk through life in a way to where you would be glorified in my life, so that I was changed, and how I was changed, I was once lost, but now I'm found. And let that be a testimony of your goodness to others, of my life, what happened in my life, that others might see it and they might come to you. I pray that we could be a great example, not so much as when we go through difficult times of being an example of woe is me, but how God took care of me, healed me, ministered to me, strengthened me, and all of these things that the world needs to know that there's still a hope. The time is now. The day of salvation is today. And may God be glorified in his church. God bless you guys. We'll see you next time on Fresh Word. Hey guys, join us weekly as we come to you, hopefully bringing you a fresh word, a perspective on things, or straight from his word, which is so powerful. So see you next week, and stay in love with God. And may the word of God penetrate your hearts. God bless you guys.